Hello and welcome to the long-awaited episode number 22 of Just Shillin'. I am your long absent and the reason this episode is late. One of your hosts, Shawn Hoffman.
And I'm your other host that's been patiently waiting here for 3 days in the same room. Haven't moved, haven't showered yet, haven't eaten for 3 days. Andy Bell.
I mean, maybe that's why that room is so hot, my guy. Like, you need to leave.
Yeah, I'm quite comfy. I've got my arse groove going on in my cushion at the moment, so I'm actually quite comfy. I could live like this, to be honest with you.
Speaking of which, man, I've told you before how I need to get a computer chair. Like, I don't know where we got. I think we got this at Costco. It's like a bulk supply store. I got a new seat cushion. This is amazing. One of these days I'm gonna get a real computer chair.
Is it good on the glutes, as they say?
It's better than sitting on the fold out chair that I'm always sitting on. So it's good on the glutes. It's good on everything.
Excellent.
You think one of these days, after all these years of working on computers all day and working from home, that I'd buy a proper computer chair and not like.
Dude, likewise. Look at this thing. I'm on something that was built. It's an IKEA captain's chair. It was something built that you shove in the corner of the room and not actually use. But for some reason, I still haven't got around to actually getting myself a decent chair. And I'm a decent chair.
Yeah, I'm sitting on like a fold-out wedding chair. It's like, and then I wonder, it's like, man, why do my shoulders and neck hurt all the time? but at least my desk goes up and down, so I can do that. That's
nice.
That at least helps a little bit. But anyways, man, I'm sorry to keep you waiting for so long. I'm sorry you've been stuck in that room for 3 days.
I have missed you. It feels like it's only been an extra 3 or 4 days, but it feels like an eternity because so much has happened on my side. And I know that you've been extraordinarily busy. So yeah, there's a lot to catch up on, man. It really has been. As a bit, my little bit of preamble, caught up with Josh, Catherine, and Matt again recently on this week's Star Wars Spelt Out to give our first reactions on the Acolyte, which I'll save until we talk about it. But it was good to catch up with those guys again. And I've literally this evening just finished a guesting on our buddy Rick Villanueva's podcast, Jam Transmissions. And I caught up with him only a week or so after we last spoke to him. And it was a good time. So while I have missed you a great deal, I've been trying to keep myself preoccupied as well. And now I'm really getting into vacation mode. So I'm where you were a month ago, where we've got a week or so left of work. You know what it's like when you're about to go on holiday. You pretend you do a bit of work, but really just getting excited to get away.
You're buttoning some things up. Yeah,
exactly. So hopefully, a week from today, we'll be enjoying sunnier climes. Although it's pretty good weather here at the moment. But anyway. Certainly hotter climes in Portugal. So man. We're kind of spending our time doing that at the moment. But so that's pretty much been the last week. Oh no! I do apologise. There is one thing missing, and unfortunately you couldn't make it. Had a really really fun time with some of our friends. In a Google Meet last weekend, so the weekend prior to this one, where a whole bunch of us got together. I believe it was very similar to how you guys used to enjoy yourselves during lockdown, just chewing the fat and chatting away. Thinking to myself, I'll join for an hour. Anyway, just to give you some context, I joined at 10:30 my time, 10:30 in the evening. And I went to bed at 3:30 the following morning. So basically, for 5 hours, I was drinking, talking, chatting, laughing, singing, crying with a bunch of our friends from Emily, Britt, the Scruffy Boys, our friends over in Australia. Catherine joined as well. And we had a guest appearance from our friend Hawes. And it's the first time I'd met Hawes face to face, albeit in the virtual world. It was which was fun. He couldn't stay for long because obviously he had a very busy agenda, jumping onto his Twitch channel after about half an hour or so. But yeah, it was good to meet with him as well, and we got into the rather convoluted discussion and heated debate. Well, from Emily's perspective in particular, around the difference between British and American bacon. It was quite the topic of discussion, and many people had an opinion about which bacon was better and why it was better. But yeah, I've got a feeling we didn't actually reach a conclusion in the end, and this will be a long running topic of conversation. But joking aside, it was a damn good laugh. But
can you give the TLDR? Can you give the high level of like what the difference between British and American bacon is?
Sure. So British bacon is grilled or fried, similar to the US, but we don't make it crispy. Only the fat or the rind around the edge is crispy. So the actual meat, if you like, itself, the actual the pork isn't crispy, but then again, it's not flaccid either. But it's not crispy. We do have crispy bacon, but it's crispy bacon. Our main staple variety of bacon is not crispy. So yeah.
So where do you stand on that? I'm curious now.
British all the way. Although Emily has an opinion that if it's not crispy, then it's just gammon. But gammon's the cut, not the. I mean, it's all pig, right? It's all pig product. But yeah, no, I just
think you haven't had good crispy bacon. It seems like since you're clearly picking soggy bacon.
Yeah, that's exactly what she called it as well. I spent a lot of time in the States, and I do enjoy your bacon, but I prefer ours. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, man.
For me, I'm saying. When I say I like crispy bacon, I don't like that like buffet style crispy bacon where it's like real thin and it's like it's not even meat. It's just like you could see through it.
Yeah.
No, but I do want my bacon crispy. I want to be able to hold it up and it hold its shape like a pencil, and I want to be able to hit it against something and it just shatters like glass. I want it to just explode into a billion little pieces. That is how crispy I want my bacon to be. Put it on a sandwich with some mayonnaise and white sugar bread and some lettuce. Ooh, maybe a little tomato. BLT. Welcome to Jimmy Dice's BLT hour. We're
to be continued. I don't think we're going to agree on this tonight, mate. Put it this way: if I couldn't agree on it for 5 hours last weekend, I'm certainly not going to agree with it with an hour or so with you now. But
what does that bacon cook-off? What does that to have one at some point?
The point being, it was a lot of fun. It was a heck of a lot of fun, and I haven't laughed as much as I did that evening for quite a while, which is always a nice place to be. And so 5 hours later, I put myself to bed. Unfortunately, I had to get up early the next day to clear out Lucy's office in the house because it's being refurbished. So I had to remove carpet at 8:30 in the morning the following day. So I didn't get an awful lot of sleep, and I must admit, I felt like crap. I'd like to pretend that it was because I went to bed so late, but I've got a feeling I probably drank a little bit too much that evening. Either way, it was a good crack. But that has been.
We only live once.
My week or so since we last spoke. Oh, apart from I've got a few toys on. I won't talk about them now because they haven't arrived yet. But I've got a few. In my holiday vibe, I've been raiding eBay and buying a few vintage toys and stuff that I really shouldn't be doing. But there's one particular Chewbacca figure that I've been coveting for quite a while that came up at a really, really good price. It's not even vintage. It's well, unless you call Power of the Force vintage. It's a Power of the Force figure, which I love. I know a lot of folk are involved. Love the originals, but the absurdity of Power of the Force is the reason why I love it, because it is so ridiculous. And there's one that's I've been coveting for quite a while that came up at a good price, and it's on its way. So I won't talk about it too much because that's still in transit, hopefully safely. But yeah, I've been spending a little bit of money as well, which again is a bit more to that. I'll talk about that later on. What about
Yeah, man.
you, mate? You are the focus. You are the focal point of this episode because you have had yet another mental couple of weeks since getting back to the lovely Lake Tahoe. What have you been up to, mate?
Dude, it's been crazy. I'm glad to say that it's finally over. Not that I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, I am exhausted, but where we left off was I was in Indiana. We managed to fly back, but I flew back with my mom and my nephew. We do this thing when like any of the nibblings get to be around a certain age, we'll have one of them out with my mom and kind of do like the tour to California, the West Coast kind of thing. Uh, just kind of fun thing to do to get to visit with them individually and things like that. So we did that with one of them. And so when we do that, we usually kind of pull all the stops and we'll do it for about a week. And that's how I missed recording the episode. I just watched the Acolyte this morning. So I'm kind of like a little time capsule. I don't know any. I'm like 33 podcasts behind. I haven't been on social media. I haven't been on anything. So it'll be interesting to see catch up on all this. But no. So like we came here. We flew back with the cats. The cats did great. They're happy to be home. We spent a couple days here. We did some hiking. We did. God, it just seems like so long ago. It feels like I haven't talked to you in like a month. Did a bunch of hiking, did a bunch of stuff like that. Then we drove down to Yosemite National Park because that's just an hour or so away from us. Spent a couple days in there doing some like 10-mile hikes, hiking up some cool waterfalls, doing neat stuff like that, eating a lot of pizza. Just
Nice.
whenever we go on these trips, we always eat a lot. We always try to make sure to eat a lot of ice cream because that's my favorite thing in the world. So we did that. Always love going to Yosemite. It's a beautiful place. It's one of my favorite places in the world. And then we packed up and we traveled to. So we do. Madison's got this like thing where when we travel, sometimes with people, we'll do. It's called she calls it like rough and regal. That's where you start the trip like camping or like hiking or whatever, and then you just slowly work your way up to like nicer venues.
Nice.
So you just kind of appreciate it more. I don't know. It's fun to do that. Because then you just show up to the next place and you're like, I'm ready to check into my hotel, and you're just dirty. And they're like, please don't use our white towels. But it's good. But it's a good time. So then we went to Santa Cruz, California. Which if you're familiar with our awesome friend Chris Hall, his severed hand lightsaber
Yeah.
graphic. It's based off like the Santa Cruz like boards, screaming hands, like all that stuff was down there. We went to the boardwalk, played lots of arcade games. I had giant corn dogs, lots of ice cream, lots of fair food, deep fried Oreos. We rode some rides. I rode a wooden roller coaster that was over 100 years old, and I still think my back is not recovered from that yet. Did all that. Then we traveled to San Francisco and spent a couple days there.
Nice.
Went and did a night tour of Alcatraz Island, the old prison. Rode our bikes. We rented e-bikes and rode them all around San Francisco. Rode them across the Golden Gate Bridge. Rode around the headlands. Rode our bikes in Lucasfilm. Took a photo with the Yoda fountain. Caught the ferry. Rode the ferry across. We did a lot of shopping. Did all that stuff for ages. And then
Hang on. You skirted over that pretty quickly, mate. You went to Lucasfilm.
yes, we couldn't go in. So I've been inside before because normally when they're open, you can go inside the lobby and they have like R2D2 and like a giant K2SO and like other stuff in the lobby where you can like come and go in and walk around. But since we were there on Wednesday, which was Juneteenth holiday here, and everybody had it off, the offices were closed. But we can still go to the parking lot and we can still take a photo with the Yoda fountain and stuff. You can still look in the windows and see R2D2 right there in K2SO. Like,
so that fountain that's not Skywalker Ranch, is it?
No, Skywalker Ranch is up north of San Francisco, beyond the Golden Gate Bridge, up in like the Marin Headlands area. It's in, for the people who aren't familiar with that area. It's kind
Middle.
of in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it's north. It's a literal
Oh,
ranch
right. Okay.
out
Okay. Okay.
out kind of in the foothills. It's a beautiful area. You can go out and do like day hikes. Like you can park across the street from it in like these open lots, and then you could like hike the hills around it and see it like over there. You can't go in, but you can see it. You could drive by it and see where all of it is. We used to frequent that area quite a bit when I lived out
I
there.
I ignorantly thought everything was there now. I didn't realize that Lucasfilm and Skywalker Ranch are two different things now, or two different
Yeah,
places. Sorry.
so Lucasfilm is in a place called the Presidio, which is I'm going to get this wrong, but it was built a very very long time ago, like as a military installation, kind of on the northwest corner of San Francisco, and it's in kind of in these old buildings up in the hills and in the densely populated San Francisco kind of area.
Right.
Skywalker Ranch is north of the city, kind of out in the middle of nowhere on a literal ranch. Um, yeah,
I did not know
they're
that.
within. Yeah, and it's pretty cool. The Yoda fountain's always fun to do, especially since they have it outside. Anybody can go up to it. You just pull in the parking lot and climb up on there and take a picture. It's pretty neat, but it's pretty unsuspecting. You wouldn't know it was there. It's not like they have a big sign that says Lucasfilm this way or
Oh.
anything. So you just kind of have to know it's there.
And what's there? Are there studios there, or are they just offices?
I think it's just offices. I think that's where they used to film the Star Wars show. I believe. I could be extremely wrong, but I thought they had some stuff there. But I think it's mostly offices.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, I'm a bit disillusioned now. I thought the whole thing was like I thought everything was based in Skywalker Ranch, and it was a bit like a working version of Disneyland. Do you know what I mean? Where
I think
much
Skywalker Ranch
everything
is like
happens.
that,
Okay,
but we don't get access to that.
because Skywalker sounds there. Um, all the Foley guys are there. They're all at the ranch, aren't they?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is weird because it's so far out there. Like, do people drive to that every day? I don't know. It's very weird. Um, yeah,
Maybe they live there. Maybe they're not allowed out.
it's like a Oppenheimer. They have like the Manhattan
Yeah.
Project town just like built
Yeah.
on top of Skywalker Ranch. You can't leave. You don't have the codes. You don't have the pass to leave.
To be honest with you, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I would
I'd be okay with
it's a
that.
beautiful it's an absolutely beautiful area too. Like it's not like, oh no, I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere, boring town, wherever. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you're in the Marin Headlands. That's a absolutely beautiful area.
Yeah. No, if I got offered a job, we want you to come and work for us at Lucasfilm. You're going to be based out of Skywalker Ranch, and unfortunately, you're going to have to live here. Okay, no problem. No
I was
problem.
telling Madison, I was like, I should take my resume and just slide it under the Lucasfilm door.
Yeah.
What are you applying for? It's like anything, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'll clean the toilets. I'm not above it. I will do whatever. It's like I'll dust. I can give me a feather duster. I'll dust off them. Whatever, anything. I don't care.
I'll clean out the Yoda fountain filter just for you guys.
Yeah. I'll be up there with the toothbrushes on Sunday nights. Just like you gotta have it ready for Monday. Clean.
Yeah.
Brush his teeth. Besides that, yeah, that was fun in SF. It was brutally cold in SF around that time. But then after that, when we left there, we drove east across the San Francisco Bay and out into the Central Valley, where it's usually hotter than the surface of the sun. It's like 100 degrees hot, like out there.
Wow.
It's brutal. But we went on a tour of the Jelly Belly factory that is in Fairchild, California. I assume you guys have Jelly Bellies? You don't know Jelly Belly? Do you know what jelly beans are?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jelly Belly is like a big, I don't know, like a big popular jelly bean manufacturer here. And they have all the flavors like, tutti frutti, toasted marshmallow, buttered popcorn.
Yeah, got them over here. I had to find the logo. Got them over here. Yeah, no problem at all. And they're all different flavors, right?
Yeah. And so we went and we did a tour of their factory.
Excellent.
And it was awesome. Which the tours are free. You can go and walk around it for free, but we did like one where they have like a docent, and it was funny. And you get to get in this little train and drive around the parking lot, and they give you free snacks. And they also make those like Harry Potter ones where it's like, oh, is it going to be is it going to be barf or is it going to be peach? Because they look the
Oh, no,
same.
screw that. I was really into what you
And
were saying until that point. No.
well, but I mean, we didn't buy any of those, but they also make
Right.
those like Birdie's Bots beans too. But we did that, and we end up they have like warehouse sales. So for anybody out there who likes Jelly Belly, the way to do it is go get their belly flops. That's what they're called when they're like the factory seconds, where they're like two of them mushed together, or it's like a misprint, or they're any of them that are like flawed. You can get them like a tenth of the price, and you get them in these big like 1 pound bags. That's the ticket. That's how you get them. So we went to the
Nice.
warehouse sale. And I think we all came away with probably like 1,000,000 pounds of jelly beans. Um, and so that was fun. And then we dropped him off in Sacramento so they could head home because he's got high school things to start. And my mom was probably about tired of us. And so then we were finally free a little bit. And then yesterday, we had to pick up the cats. And then we also had an all day festival here in Lake Tahoe, which we never get. And it's one of my favorite little festivals that they've been putting on, with a bunch of bands I loved growing up. The
Nice.
festival is Lake Tahoe is for lovers. It's a bunch of, like early 2000s, like emo pop punk bands putting on like a festival like right on the edge of the lake at the casinos, and like they always start their festival here. So I got to see like a couple bands like Hawthorne Heights, or like All American Rejects were there yesterday, and just a bunch of others. And it's a really cool time because it's just right down the road from us. uh it's fun. It's just an outdoor venue right on the road. We never get cool acts here, so we always have to go like to Vegas or Reno or Sacramento or
Sure.
wherever. So it's cool that they finally that we're seeing some love brought our way. But yeah, and then we did that from like 10 a.m. to like I don't know, midnight, 12:30. We finally got home, and in
Nice.
the evening, in the morning, and so yeah, I got home. Then I got up this morning, feeling like liquid death. And finally watched the Acolyte now that I finally had some time. Episode 4, good stuff. And now here I am. Here we are, shitty chatting
Excellent.
about what's new, man.
It seems so strange. It's only been a week and 4 days, but you've squeezed a lot, you guys, into a week.
I'm so tired.
I bet you are, man. I bet you are. But listen, let's crack on regardless. I must admit, I'm surprised you wanted to record. I thought you want some downtime, but the fact that we're going to try and okay, we might be a little bit loosey goosey with the dates, but if we can try and be consistent on recording every single week, that's one hell of a testament to you, mate. So thank you very much. What about some
Yeah.
news out there? I mean, I picked up a couple of things while you've been gone. No, that's the wrong tune. But while you've been gone, I picked up that. I mean, the worst thing for me was that Donald Sutherland died. I mean, screen legend Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
In my mind, classic films. Don't Look Now, MASH, the original MASH. Obviously, in recent years, the Hunger Games series, but those original 70s and 80s classics were Kelly's Heroes. Kelly's Heroes. He was amazing in that film. But yeah, that really got to me because he's one of those guys that I've always felt that it's really strange, isn't it? It's like when he was old when I was young, but we felt old when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
But when you consider that people that were mainstream for me when I was young are now starting to die, that next generation are now starting to leave us. It really, really lands home because up until now it's been pretty much my parents, film movie stars and bands that they used to follow and stuff like that. It's really, really weird that folk that I recognised when I was a kid are now starting to leave us. So that was that was sad. Sorry, go on, man.
No, it's kind of eye opening. It makes They makes you realize you're not promised tomorrow, and like
No, 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 no.
it's
And
just like how much time really goes by and stuff, and not to take
yeah,
it for granted.
yeah, exactly. There's only one chance of this, and there's no rerun. Um,
Yep.
absolutely. The other thing I picked up, but I must admit, I've been so stoked on going on holiday. I haven't really done much research. That's the excuse I'm going to give, and I'll stand by it anyway. But Rebel Moon. So my birthday every year is August 2nd. Just thought I'd let you know. But my birthday every year is August 2nd, and on my birthday, the amazing Zack Snyder is giving me a personal birthday gift in that he's re-releasing parts 1 and 2 of Rebel Moon,
Your
and he's
favorite?
doing it as a director's cut. So that's coming out,
Oh,
which
even
is
better.
really really cool of him. I'm joshing, obviously. Visually, it's really really impressive, and hopefully a little bit more narrative, a little bit more explanation, a little bit more character development is the main thing. Will make it a little bit more palatable for me. So that's coming out. Watchmen, and this surprised me. So Watchmen being one of my favourite graphic novels of all time, and another Zack Snyder film, which I actually thought was actually quite good, albeit a little too close to the source material that it didn't really blow my mind. But anyway, a very very good film nonetheless. There's a 2-part animated movie coming out, apparently. So they're actually redoing the film of the graphic novel as an animated movie in 2 parts, which is interesting.
Okay.
And if it's done the same way that they did I don't know if you've ever read The Dark Knight, the DC published or created an animated version of The Dark Knight, and it was really really good. It was almost identical to the actual graphic novel itself. The original Dark Knight, sorry, not the Christopher Nolan film. Anyway, point being, yeah, it was done really really well. So if they do it, if the same studio, or sorry, if the same philosophy is being adopted as they did with as the DC studio did, it should be quite good. A little bit disappointed it's nothing new though. It's kind of like it's kind of a redoing of the original graphic novel again, albeit as animation. And it makes me even more sad that the TV series that they did a few years back, I think it was on Prime, which was called Watchmen, but it took place many many years after the main event, and took forward the story with an awful lot of vigilantism going on, and it was really really good fun. And they cancelled it after 1 season, which I'm gutted about because I really thought it was quite a unique take on Watchmen, but also continue the story beyond the pages of the graphic novel. So there's that going on. And then lastly, on just for shits and giggles, I picked up that there supposedly is a Lethal Weapon 5 in development. Now I know you've been looking forward to this for many many years now. But all joking aside, there's a Lethal Weapon 5 coming our way.
Why not?
I'm a bit surprised that's going ahead, but it's going ahead.
Is it with the original cast, like the ones that are always still around?
I don't know. I mean, finally, Danny Glover can finally say I'm too old for this shit, and it's probably really is too old for this shit. But I really don't know. It's something that I picked up relatively recently, and I thought, I'll stick that in my notes so that it looks like I've done some work. What about yourself, mate? Did you pick up any news? I mean, you haven't had time, have you? Have you picked up any news?
I mean, I haven't really had any news. I mean, besides some super minor things. This is very, very different than our normal run topics. But I was big into baseball growing up. I played forever, and it was like my what I always loved to do. And recently, a legend, Willie Mays, passed away.
Yes, I
Happened to be
saw that.
when we were in San Francisco, and it's kind of rolls into something that we did when we were there. They opened up the park, like the ball diamond, so people
Oh,
could come and
cool.
like honor him. So like we actually got to go like walk out and like sit on the field and like be part of this big tribute thing. And it's like, no, it's just really cool. Like he was really good for the game. He had a lot of accomplishments. If people aren't familiar with it, they can look into that. But no, he was an absolute legend, and a name you always heard growing up when you played. But no, it was a cool experience to get to be part of that. Like it just I don't want to say right place, right time because that sounds morbid, but like we just happened to be right there, and they're like, "Yeah, you can come into the park and like sit in the field and watch the game on the big jumbotron and like just be part of like a celebration of life." So that was kind of cool.
Mm.
Um, the other piece of news, go
No,
ahead.
I was just going to say I picked up on a lot of you guys on Discord commiserating, commiserations, yeah, commiserating um, his passing, and and so I naturally looked him up, and yeah, he achieved a lot in a lifetime. So fair play to the guy.
Yeah, and 93 years is a life
It's a
well
good
lived.
innings,
So,
as we say. It's a good innings. It's a really, really good innings.
yep. The other piece of news that I have is we're topping the charts on Good Pods, my guy. Like we're
Who
getting
is?
rankings. We are, me and you, this pod.
Get
That's
it!
all I mean. And let's go. Our good friend Rick happened to send me some information. He's like, "Hey, look, you guys are killing it too. Like us and all of our friends, we're all badging. I think we're like number 90 in the top 100 TV and film monthly charts on Good Pods, number 58 in top in the indie ones monthly. It's like, dude, hell yeah. So for all of our friends out there rating and reviewing us on Good Pods, hell yeah, thank you.
Thank
That's
you
awesome.
very much. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I'm not sure if we're worthy, but I'll take it. Thank you very
To
much
the top,
indeed.
to the top, to the top.
They'll know my name.
Yeah. And the final piece is not a piece of news, but this might be news to some people. If you ever come to the Sierra Nevadas in California, make sure you lock your car doors because the bears will get in your car. We've had lots of adventures over the past week and a half of following bears around with my nephew on bikes and watching them get into people's cars who leave them unlocked. And so, yeah, that's just a good public service announcement that if you're in an area with bears, clean all the smelly things, including things you put on or in your body, out of your car and lock your doors because the bears will get in.
Wow. I thought you were going to tell me that they got into your car, but I'm assuming that
They
you know
have
what you did.
before.
Right.
Madison left
But
the
you
car
know,
on door unlocked one time, and they came in and they got in the back seat, and the only sign besides a little bit of dirt was a single claw puncture hole in our center console from it climbing back to the back. There's just like a little beep beep hole. Yeah, they've been in our car.
wow. So apart from the obvious, with I still can't get over that. I still can't get over those rankings. That's insane, dude. Anyway, wait till I tell my kids. I'll be laughed out of town. Right. Okay. So what about have you, apart from the obvious being the Acolyte, which we had to talk about, what have you in your travels? Have you had any time for reading? Have you any time for listening to stuff? I mean, you've been pretty active, and you've also had guests. So I'm assuming you can't stick earpods in your ears and just zone out for an hour or so. But have you caught up on anything in the last week or so?
I haven't watched anything besides the Acolyte, and maybe like 3 YouTube videos this morning, none of which are notable or worthwhile. I did start one when you'd called me. I was in the middle of watching one from like the New York Times or Wall Street Journal where they were deep diving the tech that like Disney Imagineering floor tech, the moving
Oh yeah, yeah,
walkway
yeah.
thing. I started to watch that and I was like, oh shit, Andy's messaged me. Go, oh, God. Um, um, the I did have listened to some stuff. We went to that concert and
Sure.
um we since it's small and local, we'll like do the VIP experience thing since it's like it's right here and it's a small show. And what that gets you in, it gets you like you get to show up early and they give you like a Nalgene bottle with like the custom printing and stuff on it. And like and you get to meet one of the bands and they'll come in like it's like 40 of you like outside playing cornhole or like getting donuts and coffee and then you're just hanging out with the band and getting pictures and stuff. But it also this year it also included like we got to watch their whole set on the side stage, like on the stage with
I saw
them.
that.
And that so I was
Was,
messing
was
with
that,
people.
that was I genuinely thought for a second that you were part of the you I mean, because I hadn't heard from you either, and I saw these photographs, and I thought, oh, he's given up his job. He sold the place in Lake Tahoe. He's become a roadie.
Yeah, I happened to get a perfectly timed picture where like the band had put all the stuff like they just finished their sound check and they put all their stuff down on the ground and there was nobody in my way and I just took a picture like straight out of like the bass guitar laying on the ground and then like the crowd. I'm like, it's my time to shine. Here I go. Wish me luck. Like
I was going to say,
people are like, what the hell is going on?
Did you have the slightest of temptation to get out there and start
I
playing?
did.
Play?
They had a very clear, like bright yellow duct tape line on the ground. They're like, do not cross this. If you do, these two dudes right here will tackle you. Because I kept trying to convince Madison. I'm like, Madison, you should just run out there and stage dive into the crowd. Just you've never crowd surfed. Just go, just jump, just launch yourself. You can make it. I believe in you. And she's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I'm glad she didn't. Man, it was hot. Yeah, it was hot yesterday, and man, people were. Yeah. I don't think people are used to. That's another public service announcement. If you're not used to elevation, and you come to somewhere with elevation like this, and you're drinking heavily in the hot sun all day, one, the UV index is usually 10 times higher. Like the UV index 11, and the sun is more brutal, and your alcohol tolerance isn't going to be the same because of the elevation. It got borderline unsafe for some people yesterday. Like people were dropping like flies. And luckily there was a good staff, but no, that's what I listened to. I got to watch their set on stage. It was kind of fun. Got to do all that. But other than that, nice. I definitely didn't read anything besides like the signs at a national park telling me how old a tree is. And road signs in San Francisco, but like pedestrians on the right, bikes on the left, kind of things. But other than that, I think that's all I got. Yeah.
I have a lot. Actually, no, I do. Sorry, I do. So I finished watching Eric. Do you remember me talking to you about Eric? The show about Benedict Cumberbatch playing a father of a child that's been abducted, and he's a Muppet. He's a Muppet creator. He's an animator. Sorry, he's a puppeteer, but he also creates them as well. And it's a compelling story. It's really frigging harrowing. Anyway, the series resolves itself, and he makes the imaginary puppet that his son had dreamed up, and that being his coping mechanism to try and get the boy back. And it does it work? I guess so, because the boy gets back. So don't want to ruin the story for you, but ultimately the boy comes back. It's a quirky drama, really quirky drama, and I do recommend it for someone like yourself that enjoys the Muppets, albeit that they're kind of a tool or a conduit to drive the story forward. So that's all that. That was great. Finished watching. Watch end to end the Inbetweeners. Now I don't know if the Inbetweeners is a thing over in the States or not, but it's basically a UK TV series which ran for 3 seasons, and they made 2 spin-off movies subsequently of a bunch of juvenile, relatively repugnant kids. 4 boys that get to know each other at school. It's about their trials and tribulations of what it is to be a teenager or a late teenager, as they learn to do things like drive and, score with girls and experiment
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
drugs and everything. They're pretty obnoxious and horrible, smelly little boys. But it is so funny, and some of the humor you wouldn't be able to get away with in today's environment. But it's good fun, and we had a pretty, I don't know what it was, but we're going through this whole election fever at the moment because since the last couple of weeks, we didn't speak about it last time we spoke. Actually, there's this amazing Rush election going on at the moment. We thought our elections would align with you guys in the fall or in the autumn, but there's an election week after next. It's happening week after next, and with our current government thinking if we sneak it in under the radar, no one will be interested and they won't turn up, and we might stay in power. But it's a pretty dour situation at the moment in the UK with all this politicking and false promises and all that political bullshit going on. So we just wanted to watch something light-hearted. So we watched that. Started watching The Boys. So saw the first week 1 to 3, and then subsequently, because we haven't spoken, we didn't speak on a normal date last week. We've seen episode 4. It's all right. It's okay. Same kind of stuff. I'm kind of glad that they've announced that season 5 will be the last. I don't mean that in any way, because I still enjoy it. I still do enjoy it, but it's almost like they've almost run out of room for shock factor now.
So I have a question. I've heard somebody describe it this way, and I'm curious if this is your take, and maybe this will help clarify your statement. I've heard somebody say that The Boys has become everything that it was parodying in the beginning, and now it's become those tropes, and it follows that mold instead of being an ironic take at like superhero tropes and things like that. Like it's it's now in that category instead of kind of pointing their finger at it and like laughing at it in its face.
I don't know. I mean, there is a bunch of discord going on at the moment with a certain type of person with certain types within the fan community that didn't realize the whole thing was a satirical jab at US politics and US corporate influence. And they're only now just getting that point, and they're kind of not happy that they've only just switched onto that. So I don't mean it in that respect. It's the shock. I don't know whether I've got numb to it, to be honest with you. I don't know whether I've got numb to the shock value that was so appealing in the first 3 seasons, the gore and everything, that they're trying really hard to up the stakes. And of course, there's only so far you can go. And it's, I mean, the story's great. The story's absolutely fine, and it's continuing naturally. Nothing seems forced. It's continuing naturally where they left off in season 3. It's just that I think that they're being really smart in ending it with season 5, so it ends as a complete series. That can end with a bang, rather than something that overstays its welcome. That's all really I'm saying. House of the Dragons kicked off, so we saw season 2, episode 1 of House of the Dragon. Good stuff. Not particularly action-packed, but set the scene for a whole bunch of gnarly fight that's going to happen between the two houses. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to the rest of it. As you know, I found this my preferred media, my preferred series over the Lord of the Rings stuff at the time it came out, and so I've been looking forward to this for a while now. And it's gritty, gnarly, and all of the above. And our friend Doctor Who is out there at the moment, doing some pretty nasty stuff to folk and making his own decisions and typically screwing it up along the way and making the situation worse. Still watching Dark Matter. Dark Matter is again a series that I'd recommend. But
Okay.
good God, I'm only 1 or 2 episodes away from the end, and I'm really struggling because the and I had a chat on IM with our buddy Turbo about this, and I think I already spoiled a certain amount for you in that this guy has found his way to travel or to discover the multiverse, and an awful lot of the stories about him trying to get back home, and it's really harrowing in places, and so it's really hard going, and so I'm finding it really hard to find the impetus to finish off the season, but I really do need to finish it off because it is very, very good. um listening to our buddies as we normally do. I haven't listened to anything particularly new that's really, really blown my socks off. Have done no reading. However, I have bought a bunch of graphic novels for the beach.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
I am. I think I spoke about this in a very, very early episode that we had. Um, I have fallen off reading novels, reading books for quite a while now, preferring Audible or preferring audio books instead of the paper kind or the Kindle kind. And but I have really got back into graphic novels again. So I've bought a bunch of graphic novels across Firefly, Rogue Trooper, because Rogue Trooper's
Nice.
coming out as a TV series. We talked about that again in an earlier episode. What else have I got?
You buy these physical, right?
Yeah, physical graphic novels.
Okay. Nice.
And don't get me wrong. I'm using the e the electronic versions as well,
Yeah, yeah.
which you
Yeah, yeah.
kindly helped me out with. But there is something about being away from
The
my phone
physical.
and having the
Mhm.
physical novels there. And I've bought some Blade Runner graphic novels which are critically acclaimed as well, and they're meant to be pretty good about the origins of the Blade Runner program and how Tyrell got into power and stuff. And from the reader score, they look really, really good. So I thought, yeah, I'll try that out as well. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to come my way, and it's all currently spick and span in lovely cellophane. I'm going to be wrecked on a very, very hot beach next week. So, but I'm looking forward to it. And that's kind of been it in the last week or so. So, not bad, not amazing, but certainly not bad at all. Oh no, sorry, one last one. Chloe's come back for the weekend. So my eldest daughter came back for the weekend, and she's come back just to chew the fat because she needed to grab a few things from our place and she needs to take back to London with her. And she also kind of came back and wanted to start packing for preparing for the holiday as well. And she'd never seen Good Morning Vietnam before. And
Nice.
so we treated her to Good Morning Vietnam. And good God, that's an amazing film. And it's been an absolute god's age since I last saw it. And it was, we watched that last night. And, geez, Robert, what a loss!
He's a treasure, a true treasure.
That guy's talent is absolutely unbound, or was absolutely unbound, and it's so sad that talent like that. And it made me think of Philip Seymour Hoffman as well, and other people that have just had these very disturbed gentlemen that have felt so lonely. And it really got to me last night. But what a film! What a film! Sorry, that was it. That really is it this time. Sorry about that.
No worries. I had a couple things I wanted to inject too. I didn't know where to put them, so I'm gonna put them right here. I know. Now you got me thinking about Robin Williams. Like, dude, like every movie he's in is like a gem.
It's insane, isn't it? Absolutely insane.
And it reminds me of that because like there's obviously like in San Francisco they have like the Robin Williams like Memorial Tunnel and stuff like that, where it's like it's all cool, and so it's like that's top of mind, fresh in the mind there. But to change pace a little bit, I didn't listen or watch, but I played some games. If that counts in this section. So all those different places we went, like the Santa Cruz Boardwalk, they have huge arcades. I played a lot of miniature golf, like putt. That's a huge fun thing for my family. especially like the cheesier the thing. But the
Mm.
arcades, I got to play like the old the Star Wars battle pod with my nephew, the ones that are like just the most insane difficulty ever.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
just coin eaters, just complete garbage. But they're still fun to get in there. Played a bunch of modern games too, but my favorite, and I will put a link to this in the show notes, or maybe I'm thinking about creating a post with a bunch of stuff in it too on the site. Um, if anybody ever gets to go to San Francisco, up near the northern kind of this really touristy area called Fisherman's Wharf, it's on like the northeast side. There is a place, I think it's like Pier 45 or something like that, called translate, I think it's like the Museum de Mécanique. Um, it is a place that is free that has a ton of old, very old, like arcade games. And like Wurlitzers and like
Oh,
all of
that's
the old
cool.
like put a quarter, like you put a quarter in, like the whole like diorama starts moving, or
Yeah,
like you're like
yeah, yeah,
looking at,
yeah.
and and it's all like the really old, they have some modern stuff in there too, but like a
So
lot
it's a
of
bit
really
like
old.
it's a bit like Pike Place in is it in Seattle? Pike Place where the you go sorry the piers in Seattle are a little bit like that as well. Or that's the way
Yeah,
a bit like do they call it? It's not Victoriama, is it? It's I know what you mean though. It's
yeah, it's
kind
like that
of
really old, everything's mechanical, and then some of them they'll have
yeah,
like
I
opened
love
up,
it.
and they try to restore them, and it's all free to go in, but then you can get quarters and play them. And they have this one that if I ever get like that podcast, What Dreams Are Made Of, if I ever get their money, I'm buying one of these
Yeah,
machines.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like a baseball field. It's like a big box about the size of like a computer desk, and it's like a baseball field. There's all these little players. You put a quarter in, you have a little lever in the front that swings your bat, and there's a pitcher who has a
Wicked.
ball, like a metal ball in a cup, and he'll fling it at you, and you swing. And there's like, and along the outfield, there's little holes where it's like, one base, single base hit, second, two base hit, triple, home run, fly out, foul balls, and they're all these little holes, and all the players have little holes in front of them. And it's so fascinating to me because you hit the ball and like, if it hits a player's hole, it becomes an out. And then the ball will drop down and there's like a scoreboard thing on the right side. The ball will route its way through and land in like the outs column or like runs
Awesome.
or
Yeah,
and it
yeah, yeah.
keeps track of strikes and balls. And it's the pure mechanics of it, of just like, it's fascinating because it keeps track of strikes and balls and like, foul ball, that's a strike, and this, and they can all the balls route to the right place. Like, if you have a person on second, it puts like, a runner is on second base. You hit a home run, and you'll see the balls just go clunk, 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 clunk to be like scoring 2 runs. It's amazing. It's so fascinating to me. Like, I have to get one of these things because I just want to like open it up and like look at it. But no, they have a bunch of old stuff like that. It's really kind of cool.
That's cool.
And it's But yeah, there's that. The other thing that's going on is I got some stuff. I know I haven't been here, but I got some things. Um, these were on my porch when I got home, and so one of them is a big. He's not big. He's 4 inches tall. A Cookie Monster. I think. Yeah, I'm teasing him with his cookies. Madison has
Nice.
since stolen him, and that's why I had to go get. He was in her office. She's like, "Yeah, that's mine now." And so I got him from Super 7. Very happy with that. I did not go for all the set. And the other thing that came was something I forgot I ordered a long time ago. And it's just like, when you order those things, it's like, it's pre-order, and then you forget. Like 2 years later, it finally arrives.
Yeah,
Like, whoa,
you've done that a lot.
yeah,
You do that a lot.
Mm, yeah. As long as I pay for it at the time, I think it's fine. As long as it's not like 2 years later, then all of a sudden you get a random charge. And it's like, well, what
Yeah,
is this?
yeah.
I budgeted for that 2 years ago. But this one is a Power Rangers Megazord model kit.
Fuck me, the size of that.
And the best part is it's a model kit, but it actually can be the individual pieces and like do the transforming too. Yeah, see.
Wow.
And so it's still got the plastic on. I haven't even opened it yet. But I was telling you last time that I'm getting the itch again. Like I think once I get everything in the house like put away,
Yeah.
hopefully today or sometime in the next couple days, I'll be able to like finish that turtle that's up there just staring at me going, don't forget about me, idiot. Um, finish that one because I do have that new rule of like I really have to start finishing them when I start them before like let's just get it done, move to the next one. So yeah, I got
Well,
those.
we need to, you know, you need to set some time up with Chris as well because he's back on the he's back on the wagon, back on the wagon, off the wagon. I don't know. He's got 3 on the go at the moment. He's got 3 new scratch builds on the go.
Hell yeah, yeah. I briefly spoke to them and told them when I got back I'd reach out and see if we can get some exciting future stuff planned. So now that
Excellent.
I'm home, I need to get on that.
Excellent.
Funny story. My mom did ask about my wig. My
All
wig
right.
was, it was.
I hope you didn't explain it. You just left it ambiguous. So she's gone home thinking, "What's going on with my boy?"
How the hell do I explain it? Like how much time do you have? She's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Don't worry about it."
What can I tell you, Mom?
And she's like, "Are you still doing that internet streaming, Twitch streaming stuff?" And it's like, "Not with that wig, but that's I'm gonna make a note, write that down." But no, I didn't tell her at all what it was.
Excellent.
I'm trying to think. Is there anything else? I don't believe there is. Not that I can think of. I saw so many Cybertrucks while we were out. They all look so stupid. I don't care if I lose one listener from this. The Cybertrucks look so dumb.
Oh, when you were on, yeah. Well, we'll never get them over here, don't you? They've pretty much failed every single EU regulation and whatever it is classification. So it's going to be. Sorry, I say never say never. That's a ridiculous thing to say, but at the moment, it's very, very unlikely going to make its way over this side of the pond.
You're so lucky. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird concept. A truck that you can't get wet. A truck that
it's a 10,000-pound razor blade.
Yeah,
friggin', and they're all wrapped. All of them that we've seen, except for like 1 or 2, they're all wrapped in stickers. They've all got some kind of decal wrap on them. It's like that is so dumb. Like I bought this giant stainless steel box that will rust, and I'm going to put this adhesive. So I worked in the sticker industry. I've worked for multiple sticker places growing up. That was my first job, and then I worked at one in the future when I first started tech. These people who think that they can put this adhesive on their car, their stainless steel car, and that it's not going to do worse damage than water getting on it, are in for a trip. The stuff that is in adhesive is going to eat that car. It is going to be awesome. I love it. Anyways, I'm not talking about Cybertrucks anymore. Sorry for that random tangent. It just popped in my head how many of those stupid things I've seen.
Acolyte, dude. Acolyte.
Oh.
Season 1, episode 4.
Day.
Can
I just say I don't think I have enjoyed a Star Wars experience quite like what I am getting right now in a while, because I have been so detached. Like, I mean, I'm insanely behind on pods. Like, not to say that my friends are the one, like they don't contribute to my feelings towards the Star Wars fan base, but like, no. I hear rumblings, like one of Madison's old coworkers messaged her about something. She's like, "Hey, so-and-so's defending the Acolyte." I'm like, I don't even care. Like, that's awesome. But like, I don't even want to know what they're defending against. Like, I am just having a good time. Like, I'm just watching it and I'm enjoying it. I'm like, and I can sit there and be like, that was a bit cheese dick at that point, wasn't it? But it's like, who cares?
Good.
I'm just having a blast, man.
You haven't missed anything. You haven't see. I don't know how I feel about it. Well, I know how I feel about it. It's just inane childish crap. But you've done yourself a favor by staying away from it all. It's really, really bizarre. It's got to a point now where it's not even logical anymore. The hate towards some stuff isn't even logical anymore. There are people that have been brought to my attention in the last week or so from our friends that is basically vehemently angry about, or very angry, sorry, vehement that his hatred towards Star Wars, it all stems from ever since Disney took over Lucasfilm, and yet the same guy is also associated with the hate that George Lucas received during during the prequels, because he's older than me. He's actually even older than me, and yet behaving with really childish, and to the point where you get
Grifter's
to a
gonna
point,
grift.
but you get to a point in life where if other folk are calling you out and going through, I mean, fair play for going through the forensics in the first place, but going through the trouble of finding old facts about you and calling you out, and that you still dig in
Yeah.
and keep digging and keep digging and keep digging. It's like, oh, read the room. It's not a good look, my friend. Just leave the room, retire gracefully, bow out, and just it's horrible. And I really feel for, you know, the other. I really feel for our friends, and some of them have feel so strongly about it that they're trying to create this positive energy on the socials at the moment, and I really respect it. But the point being is that you know, we're having to they're having to counter general arseduggery
Yeah.
with positivity, and it's like I don't have the energy
Well,
to
and you can't. It's
to
what they
even
say. It's like
acknowledge this.
you
So
can't
fair play
fight
for
an
sorry,
emotional argument. You can't fight an emotional argument with logic and reason. Like
but it's not even an
you're,
emotion. It's not even an emotional argument, and it's like
but they're emotional and like they're just
yeah,
being they're making shit up, and it's like you can't like you can't
I
combat
don't
that
get it.
with facts or
I
and
don't
different
get it.
opinions. Like it's just what it
I
is.
don't. I don't get it, and I really don't want to spend any time. We don't do this. We don't talk about this kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
This isn't what we're about. And but I don't. You know, I can understand young. I'm probably being naive in this expectation, but young people feeling protective towards a property or a franchise or an interest that they love, and really, really feeling quite strong about it. I don't expect fully grown adults that are, shall we say, on the mature side of life to behave and like this and to placate it and to be seen stoking it. It's like, good God, it's not a good look. It's like taking your granddad to a nightclub. It's like, don't do it. Just
Yeah.
don't. It's not a good look. You're not cool. You're not rad. Um,
You're not making friends. You're not making real
no, it's just
friends.
I just feel sorry that they're totally self unaware. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can't see it. It's not a good look, man. It's not a good
And
look.
on that point, like I don't want to like
Corduroy,
talk about it or give these
corduroy
people.
jeans and flares went out in the 70s. You know, just leave it, man. Leave it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and I don't want
sorry.
to talk about it as a way to like talk about the negativity. I do mention this to say that I know we're small right now, but you never know who's listening. That I think acknowledging it is one thing, like what we're doing now, and say in a means to say the over like hyper tribalism and like pick a side isn't necessary. Like you can enjoy the fandom if you find your group. Like I've said it a million times, like finding this group or kind of like multiple little subgroups that we have here is like it's honestly probably saved my passion for Star Wars because it gives me a place. It gives me a sense of community. It does. I don't
Yeah,
need to go to social media to go and be like, "Hey, anybody here like hashtag Star Wars?" Um, or whatever. And like, I think that's what I like. It just reminds me when I was in New York a couple weeks ago, and I met that family, blah blah blah, whatever, of the individual at the wedding who I think is in the midst, very young, and I think in the midst of struggling with their fandom, and like it's kind of in that entry stage of like, oh, I kind of want to get into costuming,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like I made it out of like cardboard and plastic or whatever, and it's like it's easy for people like me to be like, oh yeah, I have friends who do this. Like, oh yeah, you
Mhm.
just get a job and make a bunch of money and then buy a kit and whatever. It's like, but it's stepping back. It's like there are people who are interested in the fandom who don't have these circles, and it's like just they are out there. You just have to find your right group. I do think
Yeah.
podcasts are some of the best ways to do it, or Discord groups or whatever your other friend groups are. It's like there are pockets we may be quieter, and that it's not all just shitbag duggery bullshit. Like,
No, no.
yeah,
I mean, if you like our shtick, and we talk crap most weeks, but if you like our stick and you like our attitude, reach out. I'll be your friend. Shawn will be your
yeah.
friend. You know, we're
I'll
this
put
is
fire.
the this is the
I'll put fire emojis on your Discord comments. I'll be like, it's like you like Star Wars? Fire. To love it.
exactly,
GIF?
exactly.
Fire.
No, it's just I just feel sad, and it's quite, I don't know what the objective is, because it's not going to go away. It's not. You know, this content is not going to go away, and if it does go away, will they be happy that they somehow won? They feel that they somehow won, and it's the first time I've actually properly spoken about it since we started the pod, really. But it's just I just I just feel flabbergasted. And I was talking to Rick earlier on today, and on Jam Transmissions. Cha-ching. Anyway, point being is that, he and I disagree about certain things. He didn't like the Bad Batch. He didn't see the Bad Batch the same way I saw it, or didn't.
Yeah.
But that's fine. That's fine. I respect his opinion. He respects my opinion. We talk about it. He and we move on, because there's stuff that he likes that I don't like. But we respect each other's opinion and get pleasure out of somebody else having pleasure from
It's
something that
it's
I couldn't get pleasure from. It's like
It's crispy bacon versus soggy bacon. Like, we can like whichever one
exactly,
we want, but
exactly.
it doesn't matter. We can still respect each other for it.
Although it's not soggy, but yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It's I was about to say flaccid, but that's probably the even
Uh,
worse word. But yeah, it's yeah. No, you're absolutely
limp
right. No, you're absolutely right.
limp bacon. Limp bacon.
Limb bacon. That's the name of this week's
Bacon
episode. Limp
bacon
bacon.
dysfunction.
Limp bacon. Okay, but yeah, no, it's just I just don't
The
get it.
thing that changed for me with a lot of it was realizing that
Sorry,
it's not about Star Wars. That's all I'd say. It's like
no, I
it's
don't
not
think
about
it
Star
is.
Wars. If you zoom out, and it's like people are pissed off and tribe about everything. It's not about Star Wars. It's about everything else and picking sides. So
But what I typically like about having friends of mine that I can talk to and have a different opinion about stuff is that they may well, and this is almost verbatim what I was talking to Rick about earlier on, is that by appreciating and getting joy out of their fun that they're having, they may have a different take on it and open my eyes and have and allow me to see something differently that I hadn't considered before, which may well or may not change my opinion. But having a different perspective, having having the time to consider somebody else's take on something, is can be quite liberating. And as I said, it may well change my opinion of something. But yeah, anyway, I listen. We've gone. I hope this is the one and only time that we spend some time on this kind of stuff, because it's so sad, because it's just,
you feel bad for people.
as my grandfather used to say, I'm just so disappointed, and I'd feel gutted whenever he said that to me. I'm just so very disappointed, and that's how I feel. So episode 4, mate. Episode 4, Day. Without going through line by line or moment by moment, what were your gut thoughts on the episode itself, and what really stood out for you as being a highlight of that episode?
So like I mentioned before, it's like I'm kind of like a little time capsule. It's almost like it's Wednesday or Wednesday morning again because I just watched it and I haven't. I've been very strict about not like I've muted all Discord and I've only been in certain areas because I didn't want to have any like sway on any of this. Um, it's I really enjoy it. The I there's something about the show, like the pacing of this one, it's very fast. You could tell like they're trying to do a lot in 8 episodes. And so I noticed that the pacing is very fast. There's not a lot of gaps. Which is fine. That's not a negative or a positive. It's just something that I'm noticing. I'm feeling the sense of urgency as we're watching the show of like cut to the next scene, cut to the next scene, cut to the next scene, dialogue, and then immediate cut. I liked the use of wipes. There was a lot of visual wipe transitions used, which I thought was cool. I liked the Coruscant view that we got. I thought of you, and I'm like, is it smaller? I don't. I think they need to. I think they maybe it is. It is smaller. I think they do an addition. They do like a little expansion later on. Make it taller. Because I know you mentioned that before. And so I thought
No,
that was neat.
I did when we spoke with Rick, I did a side by side comparison, and I was talking absolute crap. So I'm sorry for that. So maybe I've created an illusion. Maybe I've somehow, through suggestion, I've actually created.
I do chuckle every time I see it, though. I'm like, it does look
Yeah.
shorter.
Yeah, in Belly's mind, yeah, it does. Yeah,
Maybe they do one of those things like with old houses
right.
where they jack it up, like
Yeah,
the top just gets lifted, and
yeah,
they build floors underneath. Just
yeah,
brr, brr,
yeah. No. Let's move on.
brr. I thought I'm really starting to. I'm giving big props to Amandla Stenberg. Amandla, it's Amandla, I believe. Yeah, Amandla Stenberg.
Amanda, yeah.
Her because her acting when she is those two different characters is phenomenal. Like
Mm,
just the way uh they carry themselves. Like they're just
yeah.
like the head and just the posture and everything about it's like they feel like two different people to
And it's
me,
really
like two
subtle, isn't
different
it?
actors.
And
It's very
it's not
subtle.
it's not over. I mean, it's not. It would be quite easy to go. I'm OSHA. I'm May. I'm me and nasty. No, it's a lot more subtle than that.
One.
And of course, because they're twins, they share an awful lot of mannerisms. But yeah, you're dead on there. You're dead on there. I think she's a very very clever young lady.
Oh, and I know there's some of it that you can chalk up to cinematography too, the way they do down shots on
Yeah,
May and how she's always kind of at an angle and kind of in a posture, but you can see that she's doing that as well. I love that. I'm keeping it high level. I'm working on my keeping it high level stuff and like the things I noticed and saw. The episode is beautiful.
mm-hmm.
Yord, like I know there's the Yord horde, like I do enjoy him, but man, he is he's not my favorite. I don't dislike him, but it's like I'm not in the Yord horde. I'm not in the fanboy group. Like he's just kind of uh a a
Say it.
fun sucker. A fun sucker. What do you want? What do you think I was gonna say?
Well, I mean, funny enough, Rick earlier on thought that it would be apt if his master was Kiadi, because in my mind, I'm not. I like Yord an awful lot because, as I put it, the words I used was deliciously pompous. He's
Yeah.
he's so up himself and deliciously pompous, but he's harmless. He's not. He's not.
See, but I get the inkling that he's
Like,
not. I feel like it's all like I was gonna use your language and be like, he's a bit of a twat. Like, and and it's like I just feel like there's it's like this wave is building. It's like, oh, he's harmless until he's like, there's gonna be a decision that he makes, and it's like, you D bag, why did you do that?
but he still reminds me of a young man that's in a position of authority for the first time in his career. He's trying to
Junior manager.
he's trying to find his way in this new role, and it's kind of like he struggles between authority or being authoritative and just and relaxing into his friendship that he used to have with Osha. Osha still likes the guy. She's very, very warm towards him. And she's, there's clearly a loving relationship of some sort. So if she can call him out and see through this image or this masquerade of him being a very important Jedi, the rest of us can as well. He's harmless, man. He's harmless. He's harmless and pretty much ineffective.
Let me clarify because I think you've helped me see like clearly with this now. It's like I think my issue with him, my minor issue, I'll be very clear. I have a very extremely nuanced minor issue with Yord. I think it's because of my life experience with like working on teams, and then like you have a new manager who was on that team, and then they were promoted to manager, and the first thing that they do, like other whatever, and they're like, guys, I gotta be like a manager now. I'm a manager. I can't be. Yeah. It's like the stuff you did 2 days ago does not.
We're gonna have changes around here. Now I'm in charge. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Guys, I can't smoke blunts outside the club like I did 2 days ago. I'm a manager now. It's like, my guy, you're the same person.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the CEO now. I'm real important.
He's harmless, man. He's all right. So what else do you think?
The ending was super cool. That's all I'll say about it for now. I was like, that what a cutoff. Like, masterstroke. I normally hate cliffhangers. Like, I'm the guy who's like, I hate the week-to-week cliffhangers in shows. That's why back in the day, so I grew up with my mom being a babysitter out of our house. She was big into daytime soap. Like the daytime. Do they call them soaps? I don't know. Do they have like soaps?
We have soaps.
Okay.
We have soaps.
And it's like the show's been on 50 years and like nothing has progressed in 50 years. Like, I haven't seen those shows in 10 years. I could probably turn it on. It's the same actors, the same storylines. It's like nothing happens, but there's always like a stupid cutoff. Like, I think that's where my aversion to this stuff comes from, of like, I just don't like a cutoff at the week cliffhanger, like the Rocky and Bullwinkle. And then next week, it's like, it barely covers it. And then another cliffhanger. But this one I loved because I was like, what a masterstroke. Like, it gave us a little, like, it didn't just like show the ghoulish float down thing, which loved awesome too. That was amazing.
Well, we know it goes further as well. I mean, we know it's not just, I mean, the cliffhanger itself at the end was the start of what's going to come, because we've seen, I mean, spoilers, everyone. If I hope you've all seen the trailer, but we haven't seen the red lightsaber flying through the air yet. I mean, that there's clearly, this is gonna.
Oh, there's some cannon fodder Jedi out there. This is,
yeah. They might as well dress them in red shirts.
I was happy because like if they would have just shown like the ghoulish black figure in the background like floating down and then it would have cut, I would have been mad. But the fact that they gave us a little bit and we're like, it's about to be on like Donkey Kong here in next week. I loved it. I love that ending. Sucks for Kelnaka, but there's something. I liked Basil. He was cool. There's I have a note from the very beginning that I keep forgetting to say, but it's still sitting here from episodes 1 and 2. The alien quality. This is what I wrote originally. Alien quality is. There feels like there's something lacking or there's something different. I don't mean that as a negative or a critique. Like, I'm not the kind of person who's like, I need to see more Rhodians. Give me more Greedos. But I feel like in recent shows, there is something that the Creature Shop has been doing where they've kind of gravitated towards these like certain types of aliens, which is amazing. They're amazing and they're beautiful, but like there's something. Like, they're making them very anatomical. They're making them bigger, bulkier. We're getting a lot of more like mammals, rodents kind of things. But I feel like there's something lacking in the like roughness of like some of the weird oddball stuff. Yeah, the guy, so the people on that prison ship in the beginning episodes, though that was like weird Star Trek aliens, kind of
Mhm.
like those were wild. So not necessarily those, but there's just something kind of, I don't know, latexy that feels like it's missing from some of the aliens. Like it's not a critique. It's just like a something I've noticed. So when you see Basil on the screen, it's like it's another kind of rodent, mammalian, whatever the word is, mammal kind of
Yeah.
thing that they kind of keep going towards. I like it. It's good. I love more Star Wars creatures. I love all this stuff. I think they're great. Um, I thought it was weird that they like posted all about him on social media. Cause I did see that like when I was doing something, I got online for a day and they're like, in this upcoming episode, here's Basil, and like all these like 3D renderings of him. It's like it's a weird marketing thing that they're doing. But I liked him. It feels the episode felt very Willow. I like this. I
Yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah.
the we're going on an adventure kind of
Well,
like
like
zoomed out shots kind of stuff.
or Lord of the Rings. I mean that
Yeah, yeah.
shot with that single shot where Basil is tracking Kelnaka,
Yeah.
Kelnaka, and all the others are behind him. Felt very Fellowship of the Rings. I said to
Mhm.
Josh and the team last week, I was singing the Fellowship theme from Lord of the Rings, from the Fellowship of the Rings, at that moment in time because it felt very. It felt very, very, very epic like that.
Yeah. The
No,
music went along with it too. I thought it was cool.
yeah, yeah, no, it was very Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of tropes this week that lent itself from that, or to your point, Willow, or indeed, I mean, we picked up on Harry Potter in some
Mhm.
of it. I mean, the forest, for example, forest
Mhm.
felt like the dark forest in I can't remember its
Yeah.
name now, but in Harry Potter, where the big spider is, um,
The big
or
bugs.
Fangorn Forest in Lord of the Rings. Yeah, there's a lot going on, but shall I go through my list because I want to talk to you about the ending and a few theories that I've got that I'm changing.
Yeah.
I'm changing my mind an awful lot because and that and it's the first time we always speculate. You and I have always speculated. Whatever we're
Yeah.
watching, we will
That's
speculate.
that's
Whether
my
it's
favorite thing to do.
yeah, but this one is I just don't know, and it's either and I love that. I love the fact that I don't know. Because
I did
could
not see the
go
I
one
did
of
not see the curveball of May kind of being like, "I'm done." Like, that was a curveball
well,
that
this
had
is
me just like,
it. I mean, this is it.
"Go through your
I
list. Let's
mean,
hear it."
go through this. So it's the first thing, and this is as it happens. So I'll just read them out. Um, okay, so we start with Kalnaka. We see May's symbol as graffiti on the walls of his crashed starship.
Yeah.
We see a bowcaster, not his lightsaber. We actually see a Chewie bowcaster, not a Kashyyyk bowcaster. And what I mean by that is it's not the wooden affair that we saw in
Mhm.
Revenge of the Sith. It's more of a black metallic arrangement that is synonymous with Chewie. Things that the next comment I made was I thought they were on their way to Kalnaka's planet. So what I mean by this, and I brought it up with Josh last week, and he kind of explained to me that it was covered, was that we knew at the end of episode 2 that May was on her way to her next target, which was going to be Kalnaka. And I naturally thought that there was therefore a race or a chase going on as
Mhm.
to which team could get on to get to Kalnaka first. But they went all the way back to Coruscant and even had time for a little bit of Jedi training till they worked out what to do next, which threw me a little bit. But Josh did explain it. I just can't remember what he said. What is interesting is that also Kalnaka has been there clearly for quite some time. I mean, look at the graffiti on the walls. Look at the
Mhm.
state of the crashed starship he's living in. I'm assuming that wasn't his starship. I'm assuming it was already crashed, and hence all the growth and
Mhm.
the debris everywhere, and he's just using it as a home, which is fine. But the point being, the graffiti on the walls, which are very, very akin to the imagery and certainly the tattoo that's on May's forehead of the coven, suggests he's been there for quite some time, and yet he's been out of communication with the Jedi for only a year. And it's a little bit like this is where I get confused around the timelines. It's a little bit like we knew, and we spoke to Rick about it when he was on the pod. It's a little bit of like, well, the events that we still don't know what truly happened 16 years ago.
Mhm.
The Master Torbin has been in a deep trance for 10 years. So
Mhm.
why wait? Did something else happen? And what I mean
Oh,
by that is
absolutely.
that
Yeah, yeah.
so you've got 6 years between the event, shall we say, and Master Torbin going into a trance. So 6 years he waited before he went into a trance. And then you've got Kelnaka, despite being in this self-imposed exile, still talking to the Jedi up until a year ago. So it may
Mhm.
never be explained, but it all seems weird. The timelines seem a bit weird. Um,
I just hope it's not like an interstellar thing, like time moves differently on that planet. I don't think they would do that.
nah,
Like,
they would do that.
I would hope they wouldn't, but
I genuinely don't think they'll do that. I could be wrong. I'm wrong about many things, but I can't believe that they'll get those kind of physics going on. Not with how completely complicated it already is. I can't believe they're going to inject the level of complication like that. May ship for you. I thought the May ship looked like a little bit of a crude Sith infiltrator, so I enjoyed
yeah.
that. They talk about a splinter order, so they're still not over back in Coruscant. They're still not acknowledging that this may be Sith, and it may indeed not be Sith. And I'm starting to lean towards it not being Sith. And something else. And it may well be, in my mind, something that might lead to Sith going forward. Anyway,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
recommend everyone listens to the latest episode of Jam Transmissions where Rick and I talk about this. Plug, cha-ching. And then, of course, the big elephant in the room is we get, and the biggest cause of social discord, and that's upset an awful lot of people, is we get to see um, the reappearance of a character that had between 3 and 4 lines in the prequel trilogy, Kiari Mundi. Clearly a very, very important character to the whole Star Wars storyline. Um, make his reappearance in Star Wars TV. How did you feel about seeing Kiari Mundi again?
They're just they're my initial like reaction to you now is like, man, they're really doubling down on him being a D bag, like just
A cockhead.
head in the sand, like an ostrich. Yeah, that same just kind of and like to your, I think it kind of boils into that point you made a minute ago about like what is happening and like how we're kind of getting all of our speculations and like we're not sure where things are going to go.
Yeah.
I'm I I'll say what I'm gonna say real quick, and then it kind of leads into it gives context for what I'm gonna say. It's I'm still doubling down on like that this is gonna be like one of those memento style things. I think this will probably be one of the most rewatchable series that they've released. Like in terms of I think we're gonna get this episode 8, and then a lot of people are going to rewatch the entire series again, knowing what they know and looking for pieces and the changes and the
Those
nuances. And I think
clues.
that's those clues. And I think that's kind of like with Kiadi,
Yeah, I think you're right.
it's like, oh, he's there. And it's like, yeah, because I know it's like, oh, part of the discourse in the beginning, like, it can't be Sith because then Kiadi Mundi and Phantom Menace said that we have a state of blah, blah, Sith millennia, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, then now how funny would it be if they showed it's like, yeah, he knew, but he was like defending against something that he was a part of, but they didn't want it to get out. Like, it's so spicy and I love it that like it's all like this real political like I've never been like a like not that I'm anti Jedi like I'm pro good guys but it's like the
Yeah.
Jedi have always felt like bleh, they're rule followers, stick in the muds, and like, and I'm glad that we're kind of diving into that. And I think we saw that in that meeting with
Mhm.
that they had, where it just reminds me of work. Like when you go into a meeting and like somebody is like a boss and they're like, "This is what we're doing. We're not having a discussion." It's like, then why'd we have a meeting? Like, what are we doing here? It's like we just need to brush this under the rug and move on. It's like, well, that was
Well, I mean, they admit. They when they're still on Coruscant and Kiadi's in the room with them. I mean, they all say, do we go to the High Council? It's like, no, 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 we don't tell the High Council this. It's like, oh, guys, you've got a relatively you've got a relatively serious situation boiling up here. You've had two dead Jedi already that have been killed. Oh, sorry, you've got one that's been assassinated. The other one has taken his own life. You've got a
mhm.
third potentially on the risk. Do you not think this is important enough for the High Council? So the fact that they're actually already considering the idea of keeping it from their management is spicy. It's
Yeah.
spicy.
I think it's interesting that they keep saying that May killed Torben.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, but she didn't.
Yeah,
She
they don't
didn't.
know that though. They don't know that, do they? I mean, at the moment, you've got the first. It, they have no idea
But
that
say
he.
how would they? I mean, not
Oh
that
no, no, no,
not
they
to.
did. No, they did. No, they did. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. Sol says he took it
She wouldn't be able
himself.
to get through his field. Yeah, she wouldn't be able to get through the force field.
Yeah, no, no, no. You're right. He does. He actually says he willingly took it. He willingly took the poison himself.
Like, I know it's just
You're
like a
absolutely,
pedantic detail, but like, oh, just like
no,
the
you're
fact that they
right.
keep going like,
You're
she
right.
killed two Jedi. It's like, well, she really didn't. Like,
No, you're right.
the
You're right.
the do you, let's finish your list. I want to make sure we get to your list.
Well, no. What is interesting is that there's a few. Clearly, Sol has an awful lot of love for Osha. And what I find really, really interesting is, despite that, he doesn't want her to rejoin the Jedi. I don't know if you noticed in the journey too.
Yeah,
He still said, "Well, we're not talking about you coming back to join the Jedi." So it's like, ooh, that's a bit harsh. I didn't expect
not
that.
official, not officially rejoin.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
I think he's got
Basil.
a spicy secret. He's got a spicy secret that's gonna come
Well,
out.
I think the fact that he wanted her to go so that she could help root out May suggests that while I do think he loves her a great deal, he is using her as bait. He's using her as
It's
bait, which I found really weird. The other thing I
I
found
think
really
it's
weird as well.
I think
Sorry.
it's his penance. I think it's his penance, and I think he knows his time is short, in
Yeah.
that he's using her like selfishly, but also like he's trying to like make it right, like
Mm.
make the world right again, but also selfishly to like clear his own guilt
Yeah.
and conscience because of everything that
Yeah.
happened.
Um, I've written here Basil is ace, and an amazing tracker. I made a note that he's wearing the same civilian uniform that they made OSHA wear as well, which I found really, really weird. The fact that they get civilians in their team to wear this particular, looks like prison uniform. It's
Yeah,
while they can walk around in their grand robes, they get the civilians within their, and they call them civilians
yeah,
within their team to wear these grey, rather dour overalls. I thought was a bit weird, a little bit
yeah.
strange, but yeah. So Basil's
They're
wearing.
wearing their choir boy outfits, their civvies.
It's a bit elitist, isn't it? It's really,
Yeah,
really weird. I mean, again, it goes back to the first couple of weeks when we reviewed the first two episodes, and I found it really jarring that these these folk that 100 years from now are wearing very meager and very humble monk-like type of robes to demonstrate humility, I guess, are wearing these amazing, amazing costumes, and yet they get the civilians to walk around in.
well, it just reminds me of church again. It's like you have the priests who
Yeah,
are all decked out, then you have
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the altar boys and just their
yeah.
white robes. It's like, no, you don't get a cool sash. You just stand there with your rope belt
Yeah.
and be quiet.
Um, Again, more Starship porn. I picked up on the even more this week. The configuration of Soul Ship looking. I love the whole
It's
hyperspace
so
ring type of
it's so
concept.
weird. It's a weird. That's a weird ship.
It is a weird ship that the whole, half the ship
Yeah,
detaches to land. It's like, well, why don't you
yeah,
take the whole ship? Why don't you design a ship that takes the whole thing down?
yeah.
I get it. I get it because the hyperdrive remains in orbit, but it, yeah, I don't know how much of it is, so it is practical and how much of it is, ooh, look, we can do it for special effects. The one thing I picked up last week with the guys, with our Aussie mates was um, oh, what's her name? Come on, the youngest of them all.
Lecky, Jackie.
Jackie. She has some sort of universal translator device. When she speaks to the local to try and find out the location of Kalnaka, where he is, she's got some sort of handheld universal translator. Again, something else that reminded me of really being quite Star Trekky, and we'd never seen it before.
Well,
Certainly
especially since
without
you
a
have like
protocol droid.
yeah, like a protocol droid later in the year, like later in the timeline.
Yeah,
But they've had these handheld things the whole time.
yeah,
Like it does
yeah.
feel like
Very
things went backward
strange.
a little bit.
Very strange. I wrote down Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship is walking across the mountain crest there. The bugs were
Very neat.
exciting. The bugs that
Yes.
we saw in the forest were exciting. Not much of a threat, I must be honest with you. Bearing in mind that they've been written as a story point, I reckon we're going to see a lot more of them next week. Maybe the means for either the Jedi or indeed the bad dude to get away might involve somehow disrupting the bugs that were hanging onto the trees there. She talks about her final lesson, and I've written again. This is before she did the heel turn. Um, I've written down again. I'm not convinced she's Sith. I'm not convinced she's Sith because there's
No.
so much raw. I wouldn't say raw emotion because that is very Sith-like, but not. There's so much compassion and feelings in her outlook at the time. And then, of course, we see her loyalties change. And now that she's got this connection with her sister back, obviously that's her primary focus, and perhaps the revenge side of things um, was less important. I talked about I wrote down that the Force is returning to Osha, and I think in turn that had a positive effect with May. So the analogy I've used in two other podcasts now is that I see May and Osha as like acid and alkaline, and when they come together, they kind of cancel each other out. They balance each other out. They are maybe a dyad, maybe not, but either way, the fact is that when they connect, spiritually, empathically, not just physically, they kind of cancel each other out, and there is balance there. And I think that's not only contributing to May standing down from her vengeful position that she'd been in, but also the reason why she's the reason why Osha herself is also returning to touching the Force again. Sorry, I lost
The
my words
balance
there.
things are balancing
Yeah,
out
yeah,
again.
yeah, exactly. Kalnaka was dead, killed by the Master. Now, my only thought there is obviously that happened quite recently because you saw the flesh was relatively recent, and
Yep.
indeed that the wound was still smoking, so that had happened. And my only thought there must have been, well, because she was no longer going to kill him, and she was actually going to hand herself into him. That's what made the Master go ahead and kill him. It's almost like if I can't have you, no one can have you. Kind of
Mhm.
thinking whereby I'm not having you handing yourself in and giving all of your secrets about me away or
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
it is. And so that's naturally what I thought there. I've written down lots of Jedi red shirts. I
Like we
did
don't even get their
question.
names. We're not getting any
No, no, no,
names
no,
at
no, no,
all.
no, 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 no. Well, we don't need to because we know where they're going. And then we get to the final. the final part, which is the bit that I want to spend some time on with you. We hear the screams, and I needed Josh last week to explain who screamed first and why they were screaming, because I thought, May hears the scream, and then the Jedi hear the scream. The Jedi hear the scream first, and then May hears the scream of Khmer. And I thought that they were the same screen, and it was just different. It was shot differently because obviously it was from different people's perspective. It wasn't. It seems to be that May screamed first to get Khmer's attention, to lure him to the trap.
Yeah.
And then he screamed, which then got the Jedi's attention. That's what I think happened, the way it's been explained to me anyway. And then we get the dude coming down, or the master coming down, this very slight frame, this very spindly frame coming down like a Dementor into the frame. And before we talk about that in particular, I was going to ask you the question, why doesn't he kill Osha straight away? He, she, or they. Why doesn't that person kill Osha straight away and simply moves her out of the way? I've got a theory, but I'd love to know your theory.
I have a theory. I think it's kind of a bigger, like, is your theory kind of a larger? I don't think they're Sith. I think they are emulating a Sith-like behavior for the purposes of distraction or making it seem like it's something different. I mean, I'll just jump straight into it. I think the currently what's happening, in my opinion, I think we're about to get like about a billion different flip.
Okay,
flips.
so first things first. Who is the master? Who is the dark shadow? Is it Khmer?
I think that's what they want us to believe. I think they want us to believe that there's going to be a turn and it's going to magically be him. I don't think it is.
I don't think so either. Too obvious.
My gut right now is telling me this. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody's podcast, so I'm like, maybe I'm the only one who thinks this. Maybe everybody does. I wonder if it is
right. I've got a theory. So, and I haven't spoken to anyone about this. I've spoken about it with other people. Let's count to 3, and you tell me who you think it is. 1, 2, 3. Mama.
Mother Coral.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, we're on the same page. Okay, cool. Different people, but same page.
Yeah, I think it's one of the witches. Basically, because
I didn't know Mama's name.
You
know they call one of them Mother Coral and the other one's Mama. That's the one I think it is. You think it's the other one. Either way, we're on the same page.
You think it is Mother Anasea?
Yeah, the one they call Mama. Or I'll settle with Coral. Either way, it's one of the two.
And the reason I say that is because of some of the things that have happened in the episode, specifically the ghoulish float down, the powers that we've seen before where they can control people's minds.
Yeah.
I think there is not just a controlling people's minds, but I have a feeling there's a controlling people's perception kind of thing going on. So like, I think that's why the Jedi, I think she wanted to fight. I think she wanted to fight from the very beginning. And I think she's cutting off loose ends now and trying to get the girls back together and to help kill all the people who are involved, but also get Osha back, get May back, and like get people back for the things that they did, but also sever all the loose ends. And I think she's probably mind controlling or something, Khmer, or he's just a bystander who happens to be the patsy who's kind of floating along with the story.
I can dig that. I'm the only reason why I'd accept that. I would accept that as a really, really good twist. And you're right. There were signs that she was always the one to kick off. However, knowing Leslie Headland, what would be even more of an outrageous suggestion would be if it was the most passive person that we've seen, or the most level-headed person that we've seen and that was Mother.
Mother,
I call her
Saya.
yeah, Mama. Yeah, it would be her because she was the most level-headed, control person of all. And typically that comes from confidence or comes from a position of authority or a position of power.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason why. Either way, you and I are on exactly the same page at the moment.
Yeah,
Exactly the
because I
same
don't
page.
because everybody keeps calling the master a him, like, oh, who is it? Him. It's like I don't think it will be. I think that's something
But
that
we've already
what they want you to leave.
we've seen that before in Emphas Nest. Emphas Nest was always called him.
Um,
You know, we've seen
yeah.
that distraction before. So I'm not going to get hung up about pronouns at the moment because
No, but I think I think everybody, all the fans are so convinced. It's like, oh, it's so and so.
yeah.
It's like I think that's where people are going to get tripped up, and they're all in like a different.
I think
a different field.
for me it's the least likely person, and that is that mother. The other thing I
Because
think
it also
the other
because it
thing
also
I keep
explains like how they knew May was involved. Like, how else would somebody know that May's pissed off and all this stuff? It's like it needs to be somebody who's like connected somehow, not just a Sith Lord running around being like, "Oh, you look mad. Come with
the other
me."
thing. Yeah, no, you're right. The other thing that I am still hung up on, and I know that Rick kind of gave a really, really compelling explanation to this. But one thing I can't get out of my head at the moment is that when the two girls, episode 3, were across the chasm to each other and they kept saying to each other, "What have you done? What have you done? What have you done? What have you done?" I still question where May was coming from when she said, "What have you done?" Because I think that Osha quite rightly was saying to her sister, "What have you done?" because she started the fire.
Mhm.
But the fire did not kill the community, did not kill the witches, did not
Yeah,
kill the coven. It was
yeah.
still relatively controllable and relatively mediocre blaze going on when she saw all the bodies on the floor. And I can't help thinking that Osha did something, whether she knew she was doing something or not. It could be a different point, but one of those points that we think when May is saying to Osha, "What have you done?" she's thinking, "I've seen all of our people dead. What did you do? Because I didn't do it. All I did was set the fire off."
Yeah.
So you've got both of them saying, "What have you done?" And from May's point of view, she actually means, "What the hell have you done?"
Yeah.
What the
Because
hell
you're
have you
out of
done?
your room because you're out of your room now and everybody's dead, so you're out. I didn't do this.
Well,
They're
you
all
never
dead.
know. I
So
mean,
the
at
only
the
person
end of
left is you.
yeah, exactly, and you never know. I mean, things with you 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 put somebody in a you back somebody in a corner, they get
Mhm.
afraid, they lash out. If these girls are as force sensitive as we think they are, or as powerful as they think they are, maybe, just maybe, something happened in fear that Osha did subconsciously that she didn't even know. We've
Yeah.
already seen that these witches can control people. Maybe, just maybe, in a fit of fear and trying to get it because of the fire,
Yeah.
maybe Osha did something that she doesn't even know about that killed the community.
Well, because her
But
power's still
again,
raw because she hasn't gone through
exactly,
the acolyte kind
exactly.
of moon
Yeah, yeah,
process
yeah,
thing
yeah,
with
yeah,
the
exactly. But yeah, no, it's interesting, and I think we're on this. I think we're on a similar way of thinking. I think that, and again, we could be
so
wrong by this time next week. So who cares?
so the I think the fun question is like we're only 4 episodes in, we got 4 left.
Mm.
And like we are hitting some some high points that I didn't think we'd be hitting this early. So
Yeah,
what
no,
how
absolutely.
how do you see what's your prediction for how you see this shaking out? I mean, it's just I know we're just shot in the
So
dark,
I
pissing in the wind a little bit, but how do you think this goes?
So I think this is going to be end up like I called it. It feels like a murder mystery at the moment. It feels like despite all of the action, it feels like we've seen a narrative play out in episode 3 with all the pieces missing. It feels like Glass Onion or
Yeah.
Knives Out, where
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
missing bits in between that happened that need to be filled in over the next 4 episodes
Yep.
or at some point. So we'll see 2 different perspectives, or 3 different perspectives, or 4 different perspectives as to what happened. Funny enough, Rick had a better analogy. And he called it only murder in the temple, which I thought was a genius analogy.
Nice.
And a lot better, a lot easier explanation than I gave. But I do think that there's going to be some time spent. And don't forget, they've got some big names here. They've got Carrie-Anne Moss. They haven't used her at all, apart from a little bit of the first episode. Well, the first scene of the first episode, and a little bit in the flashback. And even then, in the flashback, she was in the periphery of the whole conversation that was going on. You then got Kalnaka. We know from the trailers that there is something else that happens with Kalnaka. We know that he is in an active fight, maybe with or against one of his own people. So I think we'll see more flashbacks, but I don't think it will be episodic flashbacks. I think it will be in strategic or tactical points over the next 4 episodes to start building that story. But bearing in mind, pretty much May and Osha's story is nearly sewn up. They found each other again. May's turned.
I think
May's turned to the light side, or she's done a heel turn, and because she's got her sister there. And again, it goes back to the fact that the master, whatever it is, the ghoul, did not push her out of the way and did not assassinate her. I think there is more to that, and I'm more.
So who makes it out alive?
I'm leaning on either that the master wants both of them because it is one of the mothers. It is one of the mothers, and her raison d'etre is literally to bring them back to safety and bring them back to rebuild the coven and whatever it is. Or if it does go down the rather disappointing route of them being Sith, then if that person can't have May, then they'll accept Osha as an alternative. But that's my least favorite speculation at the moment, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Sorry.
You want to hear my harebrained shit?
Go on.
So I think it's a mother. I think it's Mother Coral or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they need both of them to do something because they are gifts of nature to the Force. They need them for some reason to rebuild the coven.
But they're not gifts of nature.
So I think
they're abominations. They're not gifts of nature, which is the reason why I think actually it adds more credence to our theory that it's one of the mothers, because these children.
But I think they need them. I think they
exactly
need them both,
because they were created. You don't create something like that without a purpose, having a purpose for it. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I think they need both of them, so they are unwilling to take just one or whatever. I think Saul is short of this world. I think his time is short.
Yeah.
Specifically for his comment where he made right at the end where he's like, I will tell you everything when we get back to the ship. It's like, we're about to have, to my opinion, we're about to have a Severus Snape moment where like he's about to get wrecked and he's going to have a dying breath comment to Osha about like, we were wrong, something. And then the rest of the series is going to be Jackie. And I'm just going hard in the paint. Jackie, Yord, Osha, and May all together tracking down what the hell happened. Who is this master? And it's all going to culminate in like a big showdown, realizing that it's going to be a mother. And then the two of them being torn and either a self-sac. I do think Osha's going to have her like explosive Force moment of like, let's effing go and just like wrecking somebody. And I don't know if it's going to involve a May sacrifice too. I feel like that's a little Star Warsy on the nose, but it's and then I think the only people who will be left will be like Jecki and Yord, and it's gonna be like everything's been neutralized, nothing to see here, and then it all just gets swept under the table by politics as a closing. Because I think they'll destroy the mother and be like, "This isn't how we do things." Um, but they'll get the answers, and I think it's gonna come to find out that's like Mother Coral was like they they instigated because they thought they were going to beat the Jedi, but then the fire got out of control. Things got crazy.
Mhm.
She controlled Kelnaka or Torben, and they started fighting, and things got really, really out of hand. And then people were dying, and then she was super pissed and wanted revenge on the Jedi and to rebuild the Coven. That's my current standing. It'll all change in 3 days. But and I'd be
So,
happy with that. What's
yeah,
funny is
yeah,
like
no,
normally my speculation is like, oh, I want something different. But like I think I'd be okay with that
well,
if
this
they
is
did it right. I
what
think it'd be cool. We got a lot of episodes
this is
left.
why I like this. I'm really enjoying this. It's because it's low risk. There's no stakes. There's no stakes. You know, it's like it's outside of the Skywalker lineage. It's outside of anything that anyone really, really needs to get emotional about and not concerned about. They can go anywhere with this, and I'll probably be fine with it. Um,
Well, and that's the best part. They've already introduced the concept that I know a lot of people don't like of like just because somebody said something in a future movie, like it's like real life. People can say whatever they want. There's corruption. There's
we also
people
know
just believe one thing.
we also
Yeah.
know the lie. We also know the Jedi lie. I mean, I
Yeah,
mean,
they
I mean,
lied. Yeah.
I mean. Let's not kid ourselves. The biggest liar is probably one of the biggest heroes in the original in the OT. Obi-Wan Kenobi lied to Luke. You told me my
Yeah.
father was killed.
R2D2 knew shit the whole time.
Yeah.
He knew everything.
No, but my point being is I'm talking about the Jedi. You know, these amazing
Yeah.
people that should be taken. You know that should be taken
But they're
literally,
real.
and it's like they lie. They lie, and they lie a lot, and it actually makes
Then they're not
and it
gods.
actually
They're not
makes it
gods, they are
it
fallible.
actually makes them more interesting.
Yeah.
It certainly makes the Phantom Menace a lot more interesting if we know that there's a little bit of skullduggery that's been going on before, 100 years prior to this, and that the guy that we already think is a bit of a cockhead is indeed a cockhead.
Yeah, people are going to cover their asses to try to make things okay because
Yeah.
you don't want to get Paul. It's like real life.
Exactly.
And I think that's what makes it more interesting. It's like it's not that they're bad people; it's that they're trying to do the right thing without, ruffling feathers and getting other stuff because it'll have bigger ramifications. And the next thing you know, one little lie here, one little lie there, or you tell people nothing happened, and those people carry on and say, "Well, no, we haven't seen the Sith in 1,000 years." It's like that's what they believe, and there's no proof. It's not like they don't like the Star Wars historians don't have the visuals and perception that we have. You don't think everybody just goes back to the office and says, "Well, here's exactly everything that happened." It's like, no, I love it. It makes it more real. It's awesome.
The other aesthetic thing that I thought was quite interesting was when the ghoul comes down. I've spoken about this wax lyrical over the last couple of pods I've been on, but underneath those robes, those raggedy robes,
Andy Bell,
they've
so
got
hot right now.
they've got shut up. They've got bare arms. They've got bare arms and hands. With the exception of with the exception of that bracer, that ornate bracer, which Rick has a theory. Check him out on Jam Transmissions. Apart from that ornate bracer, there's no armor there. There's no gloves. There's no gauntlets. There's no armor of any kind. They're very un-Sith-like underneath that dark robe, which is the reason why I'm leaning. Another reason why I'm leaning towards thinking they might not be Sith. Say again, sorry.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
because like it's Anasea because she was very ornate with all of her stuff too. I don't think it's Sith. I think that's what makes it so much better too. It's like it's not Sith people. There's other bad people. There's other Force users that are not Sith and Jedi. You could be dark side, you can be light side, you could be a witch, you could be a night sister, you could be all these things. It's like the Force. Like if you go to the comics, there's the rock throwers and all these other things. Like the Force
the stacks.
It doesn't have to be a Sith. We can have more stories besides those. And I love it. I just love that I hope it's not a Sith. Like, just like I hope that the stuff we were talking about, the Bad Batch, where it's like, God, I really hope it's not a something. So I don't remember what they were anymore. It was like, don't do that. That's like
Well,
that's the easy escape.
it also gives them so much potential to go in different directions in the future. At the moment, they've already made the bold step of this sitting outside of the Skywalker timeline, which I think is exactly where we need to be right at this moment in time. Either hundreds of years in the future or hundreds of years in the past. Either way, it clears it all up, and it's a fertile ground for creativity. And then you've got, on top of that, you've got the idea that not everything, if it was Sith, that would then find its way to what we know and love in the Skywalker timeline, which is like, but if it's not, you could go into it could be so multifaceted going forward. You can go in any direction you want to and give us the freedom that, or have the freedom that pretty much everyone, I believe, is asking for, that's right of mind. It's.
Can I tell you a funny theory that I have?
I do find it a bit strange, though, that some people are asking for new stuff, and then it doesn't feel like Star Wars. It's like, yeah, but you're asking for new stuff. Yeah, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars. It's like, okay, fine. What is it you do?
No, they just want lightsaber fights and
yeah.
The same, but with better graphics and just
Yeah.
crazy, whatever. We want to hear my crazy.
Go ahead. Shoot.
Like every once in a while, I have a theory that I'm like, what would piss off people the most? Like, what would really, not in a like political way or anything like that, but just like what's something that could happen that would just really get stuck in somebody's craw. And I'm like, oh, what if everything we talked about already happened, but then at the end, Mother Coral's not actually dead, and then she performs whatever ritual it is again to create. She's so pissed that she just creates Darth Sidious inside of her belly, and she then creates him as an abomination. And then she's like, oh, I'll really get you now. I'm going to create the ultimate evil to come get the Jedi. I think the internet would implode. And I would laugh. I'm like, that's so ridiculous, but I think it's hilarious. And I would love to just sit and eat the popcorn.
Yeah, I was going to say,
watch the world burn.
I was about to say that would be, on that day, I'd put my feet up and just watch the apocalypse in real time. Yeah. Maybe Mother Coral is plaguing us. Oh.
Maybe she's a shapeshifter.
Yeah. You never know. Oh,
we need more shapeshifters back again. But
yeah, that was quite cool. It never really went anywhere after that, did it? After the Attack of the Clones, did we get them again? Apart from the Clone Wars, obviously. They were in the Clone Wars, but no, I don't think we did. Anyway, dude, 2 hours, 2 minutes. It's a record.
Look at that. Next week, I'd love to talk to you about self-driving cars.
Don't. No. You showed me the photographs, and yeah, we will talk about self-driving cars next week. But no, you're on your own there, mate. There is no way. Driving an electric car myself at the moment that is based off Android Auto or Google, with Google. Anyway, yeah, it's with me driving it. It's extremely unreliable at the moment and requiring many software updates. So, put me in a driverless car, no chance at all. You're on your own there, buddy.
Good time.
You're on your own, dude. Thank you. It's great to have you back. Great to have you back. Are we recording in literally 3 days from now?
I planned on it. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Nice. Okay then, dude. We've broken the seal, and we've done 2 hours straight. So that's great.
Yes.
Take us out, buddy, because I need to go to bed.
Thanks everybody who watched. I appreciate everybody who's ranking our episodes on Good Pods. King Tom, I'm looking at you. Thanks, buddy. You're pulling the weight of the world with you. But yeah, dude, Good Pods rules. Go and vote, rank all of our friends. Like if you like, let's boost them on the charts. But yeah, I appreciate everybody listening. Thanks for holding out. I'm sorry I was all over the place and gave out a late episode, but hopefully we got some interesting tidbits in there. Check out our website, justchillin.com. I think I'm gonna put a post up with some different videos or pictures and stuff that we talked about, and some different things. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, check out our friends. Check out Andy on all the podcasts. I'll put links to all those in the show notes if it'll let me put that many characters in. But yeah, good time until 3 days from now.
Take care, folks. Look after each other. Thank you so much for listening.
Ace job liking what you like and keep it up. Until then, bye.
Bye.